Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad at all. Thanks for getting back to me so quickly.
Yeah, no worries, Jorby. Is it Jorby? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you are. Jorby. Yep, that's
Okay.
it. That's me.
Well,
Yeah.
nice to meet you. So, how can I help you?
So, a couple of things. So, I've for the last 5 years, I've worked for a woman-owned MBE construction company, construction supply company, and have always been in the situation where essentially we've never had to chase work because people have always come to us with their needs to fit the certain criteria that whatever government job they're on. So they've come to us to purchase material through us, so they receive those applicable credits to be in order to be able to do the job.
Okay.
So I've since moved on from that company, and I'm now over at a lumber wholesale company. And whilst we typically don't sell direct to GCs, we do, we sell to the lumber yards and stuff like that, the 84 Lumbers of the world. However, it's a little bit different for government contracts. And I was wondering, would this be the right fit for me to sort of go down the path of being able to supply government contractors with, lumber?
Yes and no. So, first of all, I don't know, how big a lumber supply company are you with?
So we've got yards all across the country. But in terms of a dollar amount per year, is that what you're asking me?
Well, yes and no. I was going to back into it based on the volume, but you kind of answered my question. Hey, we're a national lumber, yard. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
The business model that I teach is, hey, the government needs to build a 200 square foot tiny house, and let's just, for the purposes of this discussion, say that 200 square foot tiny house is at the Grand Canyon. So they want to build a 200 square foot tiny house, and so I turn my bid in for $100,000. Then they contact me and they say, hey, we got your bid. We want to just make sure you can do this thing for $100,000. And what I say to them is, I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting your call. Can I call you back in 24 to 48 hours? In that next 24 to 48 hours, what I'm doing is I'm calling contractors that build tiny houses. And I'm saying, hey, they want to build this 200 square foot tiny house. How much? And he says, $50,000. And I go, okay, great deal. I'll get right back to you. Then I'm calling the government back and I'm saying, okay, I accept. We'll do this job. Now, if the opposite happened, he called and said, hey, it's going to cost $200,000 to build this 200 square foot tiny house, I'm calling the government back and saying, hey, we need to withdraw our bid. Go to the next bidder. We're too busy. Now, but let's take scenario one because that's the one that involves you. Now, I've got to deal with this guy. He's going to build this thing for 50 grand. I'm going to make 50 grand. I don't give a shit where he gets his lumber.
Right.
Okay. And so how I can help you or point you in the right direction from what my program is, I really can't, because
no, I understand that.
I don't give a shit where these guys get their wood. Okay? Now, from a federal contract standpoint, I know the federal government itself is buying massive amounts of lumber. As an example, the CBs, the construction, I forget what CB stands for, but they're the federal government's construction guys. They were actually formed in World War II when our federal government had contractors in the Philippines that were doing, construction work, building runways and that kind of stuff, and then they got invaded by Japan, and these were private contractors working on a federal base, and a bunch of them got killed, and a bunch of them got taken as prisoners of war. And the federal government said, oh my God, we can't be just taking private citizens and putting them in harm's way. We need to have our own construction branch. And that was the creation of the CBs.
The CBs, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. And so anyway, of course they're, buying that stuff. Where they're getting it probably, if I had to guess, would be what's called the GSA schedule. You ever heard of that?
I have not.
Okay, so the GSA schedule, it's public information, and there are 1,000 companies out there that will advertise to you, hey, get on the GSA schedule, and then the government's just going to buy your shit. Okay? My experience over 3 decades is it's not quite that simple.
No, I wouldn't think it would be. Yep.
So, when you go down the rabbit hole of the GSA schedule, just be real cautious. Don't let any one company just promise you the fucking world, okay?
Yep.
Give us 5,000 or give us 10,000 and we'll make all your dreams come true. Fucking do your homework, okay?
Sure. Yep.
But a couple of neat things can happen once you're on the GSA schedule. One is you're agreeing that any product that you sell to the federal government, you're selling at the lowest price you would offer it to any. In other words, you can't make a deal with them for, I'm just making up numbers here, but $1 a board foot, okay?
Yep.
And then turn around and sell it to some local guy for 97 cents a board foot. You are violating the terms of the GSA schedule. The government gets the lowest price.
Yep.
Okay. But once you're on the GSA schedule, because of that bargaining agreement, anybody in the entire federal government can go on the GSA schedule and purchase it, if assuming that they have the ability, they're allowed to spend money. But they don't have to negotiate. They don't even have to ask permission. You're on the GSA schedule. It's already been negotiated, and they could just order that shit. That's pretty cool.
It's very cool. And that's kind of the window that I'm looking for, because, there's a very big gap between, there's a lot of these companies like Alan Myers of the world and, Balfour Beatty and stuff like that, who are getting these multi-million dollar deals, but then they've got to turn around and buy their lumber from a lumberyard. And
well, you're assuming that happens because there's some really smart guys out there that will buy their 2x4s from a truss building company. I don't know if you knew this, but if you go look at truss building companies, they're always located right next to a railroad, and they buy their lumber, and have it right there unloaded off the train. So look, there's some smart guys out there that figured out how to get really cheap lumber, or the cheapest lumber that they can get, particularly if they're buying it in volume. I'm not saying that Balfour Beatty is doing that or Hensel Phelps is doing that. But I'm just saying that there's some really smart guys out there that figured out how to buy cheap shit. But
oh yeah, for sure.
But and now you got me a little off my message, so let me continue. Which is, on the GSA schedule, you have reporting requirements. You have to report back to the federal government. I'm not sure, but once you start doing your research, be looking for this. But it's like every 3 months you have to report to them how much you sold. And if you don't have these minimum sell things, you get kicked off the GSA schedule, or they give you a warning and that kind of shit. But so how do you? Because here's the deal. If you go Google the GSA schedule, it's public information. You can go read what's on the GSA schedule. You should be able to find other companies trying to sell lumber on the GSA schedule. And so you can compare those prices and see if it's even worth your while, which I have no idea whether it is or whether it isn't. But you're not the first guy to come along and go, hey, I want to sell wood to the federal government. Okay? So then it becomes marketing. How much money have you been authorized to spend to market your shit? And I don't mean necessarily even the cost of the marketing itself. Your time calling the federal government. Hey, you guys need to buy some more wood. Good, look at me. We're already on the GSA schedule. How much time are you actually going to spend doing that? I don't know what the margins are in the wood market, but I mean, it's just something that you have to consider. Is that really worth your time? So you could end up going down a pretty steep rabbit hole and end up at the end of not accomplishing really anything. And what I don't want to do is get on a phone call with you like this and go, "Oh yeah, the fucking federal government, they buy all that shit. You should go,
No, I do, and I when I first, at my last job, I did go down this route trying to chase a little bit of work, and then that it was very convoluted and time consuming, and you were always getting, pushed and pulled in a bunch of different directions. And then, as luck would have it, we realized that we didn't have to go after work at all, and it was very successful because work was just coming to us. But that's as rare as chicken lips, and for most companies, you got to put yourself out there to make money.
For sure.
But I'm on the GCExperts.gov right now, and I can see that it's a little bit similar to sam.gov, and there's probably got links between the two. But yeah, this is a whole different world that I'm going to have to spend a bit of time looking into and seeing what it's about.
Well, you know what they always say is that, you do 10 years of something and all of a sudden you become an overnight success. Nobody sees all the fucking hard work.
So, how's business for you?
You know, I never really consider it as quote business for me because when I started GC Experts, the whole idea was I only want to do two things for the rest of my life. I want to answer questions and solve problems on federal contracts. If that's your mission, it actually has nothing to do with money because I made all my money doing federal contracts, and GC Experts. If you dig deep enough into the videos that we put out there, it was really to solve a problem, which is that there's a lacking number of good federal contractors. And when I say lacking, what I mean is the reason the profits are so high in federal government construction is because of a lack of competition. It always cracks me up when I post shit on Facebook or on YouTube, and people in the comments, you're the reason that the federal government, that our taxes are so high or all this shit. I go, Jesus Christ, dude, I'm the guy who's trying to solve that problem by creating more competition, which will bring the prices down. It's not my fault that, people haven't figured out how to be federal contractors.
Well, I think it's a war of attrition because there's so much red tape that only a select few can navigate the process and still make it through to the end.
That's exactly right, because when you watch that first video, me and I talk about those 25,000 registered federal contractors, what I don't say in that video, because if I say it, I feel like the entire world would just pile on and go, this guy's full of shit. But here's the facts. Of the last 70,000 federal contracts, not dollars, 70,000 contracts, they were awarded to only 3,000 of the 25,000. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, that's it.
That people get SAM registered, but they don't know what to do. How do I get a federal contract?
Yeah, there's no one to really help you navigate through. So that's why when I watched your video, I'm like, we're saying this, like you're saying the same words as the things that I'm sort of looking for, but I was not sure if it really applies to me, and it doesn't appear that it does in this particular scenario, other than the fact that there's certain steps that I need to go down and. But you got to weigh up the time factor, and
that's the thing. If you start calling guys like me associated with the GSA schedule, I mean, I've heard all their bullshit, and I talked to guys who fell for their bullshit, And they're just like, yeah, I spent $8,000 and I didn't get anything. And I go, God, in 5 minutes I could have told you that wasn't. I could have saved you that $8,000. Uh, it is, man. That's just the difference between me and anybody else in this business. Is I don't need anybody's money, and so I just tend to tell people the truth as I know it.
Yep. Yep. And I'm wondering if I'm in that category with this company where they're too big to warrant. Although there's some big company, when you look at awarded contracts on sam.gov, there are some big companies get some big dollar amounts.
Yes.
So,
are you talking about supplies or are you talking about construction?
Talking about supplies.
Okay, yeah, there are big supply contracts out there. I agree.
Yep. Okay, so maybe it's just more homework and more investigation on my end, and we'll see how it comes about. But I'm certainly heeding your advice, and
Well,
I will be very careful about.
Here's what I want. Here's probably the best piece of advice I can give you.
Sure.
Is if you go to my website, GCExperts.com/proof.
Yep.
Are you in front of a computer? Can you pull that up?
I am. Give me 1 second.
GCExperts.com/proof. PROOF.
Yep.
Okay, I call this my indisputable proof page. And what I mean by indisputable is that nobody can call me a liar under any circumstance. And the reason that I say that is just scroll down to that video that says Dennis of AMG. And don't hit play, just look at it.
Yep.
Okay, if you did hit play, that's Dennis live on camera with me in the room saying, oh my God, Sean Reitmeyer's the greatest frickin' expert in federal construction that there ever was. Okay? But how do you know he actually got federal contracts after he went through my training? That's where that red button comes in. I want you to click the red button underneath his name.
View his federal awards since GCExperts.
Yep, click that red button.
Yep, clicking.
That took you to usaspending.gov. Now that's a federal government website. That's not my website.
No, I've been on this website many a time.
Okay, now how much money does it say that he's gotten in federal contracts?
486, 287.
Okay, but that's not very impressive, is it? I mean, $400,000.
Well,
okay,
from 12 transactions. It's
yeah,
not bad.
but I'm saying this for a reason. At the top right of that screen, there's a button that has a drop-down menu.
Yep, fiscal year.
I want you to click the button that says all fiscal years.
Okay. All fiscal years.
Now look at the dollar amount.
It didn't change.
It should have.
Yeah, it should have. Hang on. Fiscal year. All fiscal year. Trailing 12 months. No, all fiscal year. Enter. Refresh. Yeah, no, it's not changing.
Well, then it used to be that I could direct link to that page to all fiscal years, but then usaspending.gov, they changed their the link. So I'm clicking on this myself so I can see if I can show you.
So I'm looking at over the years. You can see that they've certainly done well.
Yeah, the last time I looked at the number, it was something like 4 million. But I mean, he gets more contracts all the time. But I agree with you. Something's wrong with their website. It's not. It used to just when you clicked all fiscal years, it would just change. Oh, I did it. I did it again. When I clicked all, it's 6.3 million.
You did it again. do, dude?
I clicked the top under that drop down. I clicked the top button, and then I just clicked all fiscal years again, and it updated it.
Huh.
I didn't have to hit refresh or anything. I just clicked the drop down. I clicked the top choice, which says
Trailing 12 months.
yeah. I clicked that, and then I hit the button again and clicked all fiscal years. See if that works for you.
6.3 million from 154 transactions.
Yep. And now,
Wow.
but my point being that every single one of those videos underneath, I give you a link to USA Spending where, anybody could go look this up and go, holy shit, that's right. That's indisputable proof.
Yep. 100%.
100%, because it's all public information.
Yep.
The reason that I'm taking you through this exercise and making such a big deal about this is that anybody that tries to sell you the moon, ask them to show you indisputable proof. In other words, if you guys are so fucking good at helping people through this process, you should be able to show me the federal contracts they've gotten.
Yeah.
And when I go to other people in this business, their websites, they never
Yep.
do this.
No, I can see why. It's because there's a lot of scams out there, and maybe not even scams, but maybe they're because it's so.
I think it's just a money grab. Hey, you want to get into federal contract? I mean, in other words, I could have taken your call, and I'm sure I could craft a message. I mean, look, how credible do I seem to you over the phone?
100%. I get it.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you think it would be very difficult for me to change my message a little bit and get you to give me $5,000?
No. It's it's all in the sales pitch, and I'm sure you could.
Yeah, and that's my point.
Ended conversation,
And that's my point is that these guys, they have great crafted messages that are designed to get you to just give them money, and then they don't have to deliver. It drives me absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, you've given me some food for thought, but looks like GSA is definitely the rabbit warrant that I'll start on and have a look at that in my spare time. Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, mate, I really appreciate you giving me the time, and that's some incredible insight right off the bat. So that's very kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah, look, this is what I get excited about, is just talking to people about the opportunity in federal contracts and giving them, I always tell people it's not my job to talk you into something or out of something. It's to open your eyes.
Right. And I think you get a little bit complacent. Well, not complacent, but overwhelmed is the easy word. Like just the thought of like, okay, where do I begin, right? And you got to think out of 25,000 people who maybe signed up with that idea in mind, as you said, most of them aren't going to see it through. Whether they run out of time, they hit too many dead ends, they don't trust the people they're talking to. I mean, it's easy to see why people give up.
Yeah.
So you're a breath of fresh air, but thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, mate. You have a good one. And tell you what, if I hit a home run, I'll shoot you a text.
I'd love to hear about it.
All right, buddy. Take care. Thanks, Sean.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye.